Good morning and welcome to today's webinar with D-Link, talking about our latest product solution, Nuclias, our cloud managed networking platform. It's great to be here this morning. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for giving us your time today. Both myself and my colleague Ilya, Commercial Product Manager at D-Link, are very grateful to have your attendance here today, and we look forward to sharing with you information about our latest product solution, Nuclias. My name's Phil Tarbox, the National Sales Manager for Business Solutions for D-Link in Australia. For all of our colleagues and partners across Australia, and for people joining us from New Zealand, a very warm welcome to everybody this morning. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So today's webinar it is being recorded, so you'll be able to go back and look at this webinar again, and also to be able to share it with your colleagues and your staff and your team within your organisation as well. So keep a lookout for that link, which will be coming out not too long after the conclusion of the webinar. You will find in Zoom, and I'm sure more of us are very familiar with Zoom than we might have been, particularly in the last month. So there is in the Zoom field. There is a Q&A box that you do get access to. So please, throughout the presentation, the webinar this morning, please enter your questions into that Q&A box, and I will aim to answer all of those questions live right at the conclusion of the webinar. So please keep those questions coming throughout the webinar as something comes up. We will have a survey at the end of the webinar as well, so we'd appreciate everybody completing that survey. There's an opportunity to request evaluation, product and additional information through the survey as well. So all of that information will be sent out to you. At the conclusion. Other than that, I think everybody knows where their own bathroom is within their own premises, so there's no need to take anybody through those sorts of details. So without any further ado, both Ilya and myself, we will get started. So we're here today to look at Nuclias, the latest solution and product platform that D-Link has released into the D-Link for Business into the D-Link for Business range of product. So sure, lots of us have heard about Nuclias. There's certainly a lot of marketing, there's a lot of literature, and it's certainly been a very big focus for the D-Link Australia and the D-Link New Zealand team over the last 6 months. So in a nutshell, Nuclias is an end-to-end cloud-managed networking solution optimized to make network administration tasks as simple and as painless as possible. Now, of course, most networking products aim to do that as well, and certainly Nuclias goes about doing this in some slightly different ways, and ways in which that we believe certainly simplify and certainly make life much more painless for people like yourselves that are attending here today, for MSPs, for managed service providers, for system integrators, for value-added resellers, for people that are managing and monitoring customers' networks. And certainly at the moment, connectivity is king. It is absolutely important that the connectivity part is right for people's offices, as well as for people's homes as well. So, cloud managed networking is certainly not a new technology, but this is a new product for D-Link, or is it? A little bit of intrigue there, and we'll come to that in just a little moment. Certainly the way that we've gone about releasing this product, I believe, has given us some advantages. Certainly over the last 12 months, myself and my team, we've been out there soliciting feedback from our partners and our customers today, trying to find out some of the things that they like and they dislike about some of the other vendors' solutions that they may be working with or they may have tried in the past. There's a number of these things that we've gone and looked at, and there's certainly a couple of things that I want to highlight here as to what people have told us that they don't like about some of the vendors that they've worked with. Multi-tenancy was very much a big one. For a managed service provider, this is a really key feature to be able to see all of your customers' information on a single pane of glass. So not just one customer, but the dozens or the hundreds of customers that you have, being able to view all of that information simultaneously, being able to get a quick snapshot of what's going on with all of your customers' network. So that's certainly one really big dislike. Another big one is the way that the products, other vendors, other companies' products have been licensed. Certainly buying a 5 or a 10-year license is a pretty significant investment in a vendor's product, and having to pay for that up front is certainly a really big challenge as well. Products bricking themselves when the licenses expire, there's certainly concern that people have had that. Co-terming is definitely a concern when I buy one product today and another, let's say another switch in 3 months' time or an access point in 9 months' time. All of these different expiry dates end up with different renewal contracts being sent through, and these all get very unwieldy and very difficult to manage. In fact, a number of MSPs have indicated to us that they've had to employ people just simply to manage different vendors, co-terming and licensing to make sure that they didn't find themselves in situations where products had expired. Local stock and distribution has certainly been was certainly a challenge. Products and licenses being tied to an end user, and of course a lack of local support and local representation are some of the challenges and the dislikes that people have told us that they don't like about the current vendors that they've been working with. So at D-Link, we're certainly very customer focused. We believe that we're great at listening to the needs and the wants and desires of our customers. We believe that with the Nuclias solution, that we've gone and we've listened to our customers and we're delivering a product that's able to address all, if not most of these concerns that our partners have put forward to us. One of the big things that's a key differentiator is that we've designed this product specifically for MSPs or managed service providers, so delivering the features that MSPs are looking for. So multi-tenancy is standard, but that's absolutely critical. Not having to have multiple logins for multiple customers, being able to see something from a single login is really critical. And that's something that we've delivered straight off the straight off the bat. Getting the product billed monthly rather than having to pre-purchase it many years in advance is certainly something that's pretty important as well. Getting that paid per month, per device, all billed in arrears. And of course, everything is just start pay as you go. No use, no pay. Why would you want to pay for a product that's not actually being used? Of course, everything being billed monthly. Getting that co-termed automatically is something which happens as well. So that's a great feature to have there too. Local stock in distribution. That's something that's really important, and we continue to deliver that, and certainly in these current times that we find ourselves in at the moment, having stock locally here in Australia, there's pretty significant benefit to our partners and to your customers in having excellent continuity of supply. Of course, being able to fully manage your own customers is required, and to be able to go and create end users and to be able to move inventory between end customers as well gives you the total flexibility that MSPs are looking for. This is not a a lockdown or a controlled environment. It's fully flexible, able to be used in the way that's going to best suit you and best suit your business. And since our last webinar on Nuclias, we now have this hosted in Australia as well. So from a data sovereignty point of view, there's certainly great benefits in that. And for our friends across the ditch in New Zealand, there's certainly some benefits to that being hosted here as well, with some great cooperation between Australia and New Zealand as well. And of course, part of the D-Link difference is our local level 2 and level 3 support, all done out of our head office in Australia, in North Ryde in Sydney, or perhaps might be being done out of somebody's home at the moment as well, in these times that we find ourselves living in. So, where do we fit into the market? Where do we think that other D-Link happens to fit in? So certainly, there's a good number of vendors that we compete with, and we believe that from features that SMEs and MSPs are looking for, we absolutely compare very well with some of our larger competitors, Cisco, Meraki, Aruba, and Ruckus. But with a price tag that is really aimed at small and medium-sized enterprises. That's certainly a challenge that some of our competitors have got, where our product is priced at in a way that it does make it challenging for smaller organisations to be able to afford some of these enterprise-grade or are promoted as enterprise-grade product. But what are you missing out on by moving to Nuclias from some of these other vendors that you might have seen today? Well, we don't really believe there's anything that you're missing out on. All of these features that are on here, which are all the things that are absolutely critical, that D-Link, Nuclias by D-Link, that our solution absolutely delivers all of these key features, very similar to our major competitors. Of course. One thing that's a unique feature which we offer is pay-as-you-go monthly billing. So that's not something that any of our competitors have been able to offer today. So what products are in our range at the moment? So we've got two ranges of products, two key ranges of products. We've got our range of switches going from 10 ports all the way up to 52 ports with a mixture of PoE and non-PoE products available. And note also the MP or the max PoE ranges of products in the 10, the 28 and the 52 port series of products. These have got larger PoE budgets, which are of course are important in today's environment where people are running devices that are drawing more PoE power, whether it be a pan tilt zoom or PTZ IP camera, a VoIP phone that's got a significantly larger LCD or LED display on it, or perhaps a high-powered access point that needs more power. These max power range of switches are certainly becoming very, very popular and are very much a requirement as well. In addition to switches, we've got two access points that are shipping today. A 2x2 Wave 2 access point, the DBA 1210, and the DBA 1510, a 3x3 Wave 1 access point. Later this year in Q3, we'll be shipping the DBA 3620 outdoor access point, along with a whole host of other products as well. So I mentioned here that Nuclias has been available in Australia since October last year. So why should you as an MSP consider moving or consider using this product for your customers when this is such a new product, or is it? So since 2015 in Japan, D-Link has been working with NTT, a very large carrier in Japan. We've got more than 200,000 access points that have been deployed out to a variety of their customers. All out as a managed service to their customers. So NTT work with both D-Link and also with Cisco Meraki. And so far to date, D-Link has got just over 80% market share within NTT for product used. So we're offering a highly reliable and a highly predictable solution out to their customers that's been used in many, many locations and many different types of verticals as well. So today we're offering, we've got switches and APs that we're providing at the moment. We do have a pretty good roadmap of product coming through for the rest of 2020 and into 2021 as well. So I mentioned our outdoor access point before, that will be shipping in Q3 this year. We'll also have an expanded range of wireless access points. Of particular note will be a tri-band Wave 2 access point, so 3 Wi-Fi radios, one 2.4 gigahertz and 2 5 gigahertz radios, all about delivering additional wireless capacity. In Q4, we'll have a multi-WAN router that will be available or manageable via the Nuclias Cloud platform. Of course, all products that are part of Nuclias Cloud are all zero-touch deployable. So there's no physical configuration required on the product. That's all done. Via the Nuclias portal, where the configuration is created there. The device phones home. It goes and grabs that configuration that's been preloaded, and within minutes it's available online for use. Particular range of product that's drawing a lot of attention and a lot of interest is our Layer 2 Plus stackable switches, and we're expecting to see those shipping in Q4, so just before Christmas this year. So there's a good number of partners that are very excited about this range of product coming. And then in 2021, amongst a whole list of other products that will be coming through, we'll have our range of IP surveillance cameras with NVRs as well that will be coming in 2021. So stay tuned for all of these exciting product developments that are coming through. In terms of managing Nuclias, I mentioned our zero-touch deployment before. It's a very intuitive dashboard that's very simple, very easy to be able to configure and to monitor your network. What I might do now as part of the webinar today is hand over to our commercial product manager, to Ilya, and ask him to take us through a quick demonstration of the Nuclias Cloud platform. Ilya, over to you.
Thank you, Phil. Let me share my screen now. Here we go. So I wanted to show you some of the main features of the Nuclias Cloud platform, the Nuclias portal. So how you manage your devices, what do you see there, and probably just some of the main features. We probably won't have enough time to go through all the features, but the main ones which we're normally being asked for from our partners, I'm going to cover. So when you log into the Nuclias portal, Nuclias Cloud portal, you straight away, if you log in as MSP, as Phil mentioned, that these platforms have been designed specifically for MSPs. You have this nice overview of all your devices that deployed at your customer sites, and you see which ones are online, which ones are offline, which are not being active for a while or dormant. And there is a little handy shortcut here where you can have a look at exactly where the device is, what customer it belongs to, and what site it is located at. And obviously you can also have a look at your online devices here and have a look what when they were last connected and on their activity. Now, being a single pane of glass, obviously, to overview all your customers, you can see the list of customers here, or also called organizations, and straight away you see the status of them. If it's green, obviously it's good. If it's red, that means that something is not right there, so we know that these customers got one device which is down. And a very nice feature here, we can hover over sites. If you've got multiple sites for this customer, you will see them all here, and you will see what devices are being installed and what is their status. Now you can drill down into your customer if you want to see a bit more detailed on what's happening with their network and with their devices. And this is a more detailed overview, obviously, of that particular customer and all the customer sites. You can narrow it down to a specific site, or just or look at all the sites all together, and you will see all the statistics here. So this dashboard, as you can see, shows you an overview how many devices are offline, how many are online, what type of devices are they. So we can see switches and access points here. How many clients are connected. So there's historical, you say last 24 hours. We can view, say, last 7 days. And obviously, you will have access to all the detailed reports, which I will show you in a moment. So there's PoE utilization if you've got any switches installed. So they will show you how much power the devices are drawing, and if there are any switches which are exceeding their utilization threshold. Obviously, you will see all your top devices, the most active devices, which are, say, consuming more data than usual or more than others, and you can quickly drill down into them, and you can have a look where these devices are located, for example, and troubleshoot from here. Right, you also have a list of top clients which are, say, more active than others, and you can have a bit more detailed in here, and again have a look at the last week, for example. So the clients here, as you can see, are shown with MAC addresses, but we also introduced a feature where the clients' names are shown, their NAT bias names if you want to. So I'll show you that bit later on. So the dashboard itself is customizable, so you can select which particular information you want to see here if you want to limit it to certain information. And you can say have an overview of all your devices, or you can just view at your Wi-Fi, for example, performance and what's happening with your wireless clients, so you can see what's the usage has been, and you can quickly limit it, say, filter it down to a specific access point, for example, or a specific site if you want to. So there is also a switch overview, which shows you the performance of the switches and the load on the switches. So you can see it shows you how much upload and download on the switch is happening, how much power is delivering, and CPU utilization and port utilization as well. A very handy view is map view. So if you've got multiple sites, for example, for your customer, so map view will show you all these sites, and quite handy if you click on it, so it will show you which particular devices and what their status is. So if you want to see a bit more in detail what exactly is happening with the devices, that obviously was just a dashboard. You can monitor a bit more detailed under the monitor section of the portal. So if you click on, say, access point devices, it will show you what active access points here and what are they doing. So the connectivity bar, it's also very useful. It actually shows you the status of your device, not just now, but also historical data. So if the device has been dropping off and on, you will see some red lines in here. And if you hover over, it will show you at what times the device was dropping off. And of course, you will also see that under the alerts system, which I'll show you in a moment. So if you want to drill down into the device, so you can click on it. So obviously, you will see all the information here. So the map view, obviously, where it is located, what's its serial number, what's the MAC address, how it is configured, what its public IP, what its private IP, and you also have access to what firmware version it is running. And if you click on, say, have a look at the firmware, the devices are by default set to automatically update firmware whenever there is a new firmware coming out, but the updates are done on your predefined upgrade window. So by default, it is on Sunday, 1 a.m., but of course you can change that to any other time you like. You can also set your own schedule. You can set the schedule to a specific time if you want to upgrade the firmware at that particular time, or you can force the upgrade right away if you need to do that straight away. Right, so other information that you can get from here is obviously the configuration of the access point, what wireless networks are configured, what frequencies or what SSIDs they're using on what frequencies, and what type of security they've got set up. Obviously information on the radio, how each radio operates, what channel it is on, what power level it is on, and what channels are allowed to be used. There are some handy tools built into the portal. For example, a ping tool. So if you need to troubleshoot connectivity, so with a customer remotely, you can ping, say, from an access point just to see if the internet connection is fine and what type of statistics you're getting from the ping. You can do trace routes as well. And if you want to, for example, to identify an access point for a customer, so if they have multiple devices installed around the office and not sure which one to look at, you can force the access point to start blinking with LEDs so you can easily identify that. And obviously, you can reboot the device as well. So if you want to have a look at your client's connectivity, for example, so again, we can see it under monitor. It will give you a list of clients which are connected. So currently we see the data from 24 hours, but we can drill down, say, to last 3 months, for example, last 2 months. And as you can see, there's all sorts of information here: what channel they were connecting on, what signal strength, how much data went through. So obviously green, that means that this client is currently connected, and red, that means it's no longer connected. So the client names, if they support NetBIOS, so if they broadcast their name, it will appear here, or you can specify your own name and you can type in whichever name you want for the client if you want to identify it here. So there's all this information, and of course these tables are all customizable. You can add or remove whichever information you're after. Now, if you want to have a look at what exactly has been happening with the clients, we can have a look at the event log. So we can choose whichever date frame we want to see, and have a look what clients has been connecting, and all this information is obviously here, and you can download it if you need to in Excel format to refer to it later. If we want to have a look at the neighboring AP, so that's another feature which was added based on the feedback from our customers. So whenever they're troubleshooting remotely their client's connectivity, specifically Wi-Fi connectivity, this is very useful, where you can see what other wireless networks are around the client's location. So what channels are they using, what signal strengths are. So that will help you to set up your own channels to avoid interference, or at least troubleshoot and find out what exactly is happening here. Right, so if you have a look at the switch configuration, so obviously it is very similar to access points. You can also see connectivity, but here obviously we get information on the switch performance and the port performance. So let me show you what you can see under summary. So obviously the switch connectivity, what it's been doing throughout this time, and you can obviously have a look what's the historical data for this. If you've been connecting or disconnecting from the internet, you can see all that. And you can simply see what ports are doing, which ones are connected, which ones are supplying power by Ethernet to the PoE devices, which port is uplink port. And if you click on a port, that will give you information on what's been happening with that port. So you can see there's traffic, upload traffic, how much information, how much data has been sent from that port, and how much has been received. Also, all information about the configuration of that port, connectivity, and some statistics on what is currently is happening with on that particular port. So how much traffic is being sent, how much is received, multicast, and if there are any errors, they will be shown here as well. And what's the current rate of data flow on that particular port. So I'll get through the cable test as well. So that's also another interesting feature. Let me just first show you the what information you can see on the switch overall. So if you click just on the port, so it will show you the status of all the ports, which ones are supplying power, what the speed they're connecting at, and how much traffic has gone through the port. So that's very handy. You can obviously see what is happening with the network, with the switch, and if there are any issues, any throughput issues, you can simply troubleshoot it through the portal remotely. Now, if it is a PoE switch, you will obviously see how much power the system is delivering and which port is being delivering power to PoE devices. And as I mentioned, there are some tools built in here. So we see the same tools as we saw on access point devices, so you can ping. On the switches, you can also view the MAC forwarding table if you need to refer to it. You can also cycle a port. So that's another, that's one quite useful feature. If, for example, you have a device, a camera, or an access point which is not responding, you need to power off and on it remotely, so you can specify which port it is connected on, and if you do that, the switch will disable PoE on that port and then re-enable it. That means that the PoE device will reboot and hopefully will come back online. And another useful feature that can be used to troubleshoot networking connectivity is the cable test. If, for example, we're having issues with one of the ports, so we can specify, okay, we want to run a cable test on port number 10, and we do that. So what the switch does, it actually verifies all the pairs on that particular port if they are connected correctly. As you can see here, we've got pair 2 and 3 being okay, but since this device is 100 megabits per second, it's actually not using pairs 1 and 4, so it's a 100 meg connection. And the switch even estimates the approximate cable length. So here we've got 10 meters, 10 meters of a cable length. And obviously we also have the information, the option to reboot the switch and also to flash the LED lights for identification. Another useful tool is the floor plan. So you can upload your floor plans for different sites for your customers, and that also can help with remotely troubleshooting or identifying devices. So if your customer's got multiple access points around the office and they don't exactly know where they are and how, which one exactly you're referring to, you can use this view to identify and help the customer to find the location of the access point. Now, in terms of configuration, so let me just quickly take you through the configuration of the devices themselves. So if we are deploying access points or switches, we need to prepare a configuration profile in the portal. So whenever the device is shipped to the customer, as Phil mentioned, what we call zero-touch configuration. That means that you don't even have to touch the box. When the customer plugs in the device at their premises, it automatically downloads the configuration and will be ready to go in a matter of minutes. So let me just try to create a profile here. So we'll just name it test, for example. We select whichever model we're referring to, and you have an option here to use the default configuration, which is prepared by the portal, or you can use one of the existing configurations that you made before. So if you have multiple sites you're dealing with, or multiple devices, you don't need to go through the whole configuration over and over again. You can use your existing profile as a template and use that. So let's create a profile. As you can see, so that's the default, obviously, configuration. So it has a Nuclias guest SSID, and obviously you have an option here to set up whichever security you prefer. So if it is open for public access, so you can have open network, or the latest development, enhanced open, where the traffic is still encrypted. And you have an option, obviously, to enable a more common WPA2 or WPA3 on your access point. And obviously, if the access point is deployed for public access in a restaurant or cafe, for example, you have an option here to enable a captive portal. That's the screen or a splash page. When the customer tries to access the internet, they will be greeted by that splash page, and you have an option here to modify it or choose whichever type of authentication you want to use. Could be just agree with the terms and conditions, or you could use email authentication, where an email is sent with a password to access Wi-Fi, or use Google, Facebook, or other types of login. So these pages I mentioned are all customizable, so you can change text in them or add your own images, obviously. And if you're familiar with HTML programming, so you can even access the source code for these configurations. Right, for other configurations, obviously you will have access control options here where you can do MAC filtering or IP filtering and create different rules in here. For public access, another useful feature we have is scheduled availability. So if you're running an access point, for example, in your office, which offers connectivity for guests and for your staff, you can choose a specific SSID to only operate during certain hours. Say, for example, if a cafe or a restaurant is closed, you don't need to provide wireless connectivity to your guests anymore. So you can disable that that particular SSID on schedule. So that means that it will no longer be available. And with public access, another useful thing that you can do is limit the bandwidth for guests. So you can specify what's the total bandwidth you can offer to your guests and what's the maximum downstream or upstream for each of the connected clients, and the access point will distribute those automatically between the clients. So under the radio settings, obviously you can choose what's the channel bandwidth. So all these wireless settings, simple and advanced, are all available. So with channels, to avoid interference, obviously you have an option here to select automatic channel selection, where access points would look for the best possible channel where the less interference is available. And you can set a specific interval to scan for the best available channel if environment changes all the time. So you can set it, say, to 6 or 12 hours or some other time, so as frequently as you wish. Now, if you look at the switch configuration, obviously it is refers to port configuration. So I showed you that you can see all the details about the ports, about if there are any errors, and you can run the diagnostics, etc. Configuration of the ports themselves is also very straightforward. So you can select multiple ports and configure them all at the same time. You can create a link aggregation group if you need to, or you can edit other configurations in these ports. So you can, for example, enable VLAN, assign them to a specific VLAN, or change what native VLAN is. Obviously, control PoE. And another useful feature I want to mention is the PD Alive feature. What it is, or Powered Device Alive feature, what it is, if you've got it enabled, you have an option here to specify an IP address. So what it is used for, if, for example, you have a camera, an IP camera, which is PoE camera powered from that switch, and if the camera logs up, you normally would know about it until the customer complains and says, oh, the camera is not working, or the access point logged up and it's not working. So what PD Alive feature allows you to do is for the switch to automatically check or ping that device on that port. So you can specify an IP address of your IP camera here, for example. And if the switch detects that the pings are no longer responding, so that device is locked up for whatever reason, the switch will then power off and power on the PoE on that port. That means that the camera will reboot and hopefully will come back online. So that all happens automatically. So that really helps avoiding those situations when the customer complains that something is not working. So it's a good feature. Right. So whenever you do any configuration, obviously you want to know if you've got multiple administrators looking after your customers. You actually have a change log in here where you will see what exactly has been happening with the network configuration, what change has been applied recently. And obviously, you also have access to reports of your client's activity. You can choose, obviously, whichever client, whichever site to look at, what devices you want to have reports on, all or just some of them. And obviously the time frame, and the report is very handy. It shows you all the information about the traffic usage, which clients were most active, and what's the percentage of usage for these clients. And this report can be obviously downloaded in Excel format, so you can actually build your own tables and pie charts and whatever you like to show to your customers and provide them some information about their activity on their network. Obviously, reports can be done, say, for the last week or couple of weeks or a month, and you also have access to archives of your reports, which goes back a couple of years, so you can see the reports from previous months in here, and you can download them as well in Excel format. So apart from reports on access points, you can obviously get reports on switches, and you can get reports on alerts. So if there's anything which is happening on the network, like the switch goes down or access point goes down and not responding anymore, you will get alerts and you will see all the reports here, and you can see what exactly has been happening, and you can acknowledge them, and they will be under processed, or all the new ones will be obviously shown in here. Alerts can also send you an email, which again another feature which is very handy. So you can set up your configuration on when you want to receive alerts and on what particular events. Say if the firm has been upgraded or upgrade failed for whatever reason. If the access point has been offline, you can set a threshold. Say if it's offline for more than an hour, you will get an email, and same thing about switches. So as you can see, quite handy a tool here to keep you informed about the situation on the customer's network. Now, last thing I want to show you is how you manage your customers. So there is obviously organization management here, where you can see all your customers, and you can add your own customer, and you can add even a picture here, the contact information, and you can add multiple sites or single site for each of the customers, like I showed you before. And finally, you can add obviously your own staff to access your customers, or you can add customers to access their own network, and you can limit their access to either modify the configuration, or just monitor what's happening, or just to view the current status, live status, and obviously you can limit them to view specific sites only if need be. Right, so this is in a nutshell what the portal offers you. As you can see, it is very easy to use. It is very intuitive and provides you with all the information you need about the customers, and at the same time offers you all the advanced features in terms of configuration and managing the devices on your network. As Phil mentioned, since we developed these from the ground up, and we always listen to customers' feedback on what would work best for them. So please feel free to share your feedback with us. As an example, we did have our previous webinar, and after talking to multiple customers some months ago, they gave us quite a lot of feedback on what they want to see, and we talked to our developers, and of course we're also interested in providing you with the best possible tools, and yeah, most of the features that people were asking for were already implemented, and some are still on the roadmap, but they will be implemented as well. So like two-factor authentication, for example, that's something that several of the customers asked, and there you go, we now have it in our portal. All right, so I'll pass it on to back to Phil, so you can switch to his screen.
Right, thanks Ilya for that comprehensive comprehensive overview of the Nuclias portal. I think we'll all agree that there's a lot in there, and that was explained really simply and easily. So thanks Ilya. Right, so what happens next? Hopefully we've piqued your interest in the with the Nuclias product solution. So what are the things that we're looking for? So product evaluation. That's probably, and I see from some of the questions that are coming through, and for those we'll get to at the end at a Q&A session at the end. So please keep those questions coming through the Q&A box that you'll see in the Zoom menu. So product evaluation, as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got a large amount of product available for partners to go and get hands-on, to go and get a physical play with the product. Certainly a number of our partners have gone out and put product into their customers' sites for evaluation as well, to go and see how it performs and out in the real world, and how easy it is for them to be able to manage as well. So that's something you work with your D-Link account manager to go and arrange that. Certification is something that's critical. So you're unable to sell this product if you are not certified. So please go and get certified. There's no cost to doing that, or with any of the D-Link training that we offer, whether it's via online or whether it's via a classroom course, which of course have been suspended at the moment. Hopefully we'll get those back up and running towards the end of the year. So go and get yourself a D-Link training account, and go and register yourself for the certified cloud administrator, and of course there's an exam at the end of that as well. The course is about 25 to 30 minutes of video, all led by Ilya, and there's a 15-question exam at the end with a pass mark of 80%. If you listen to the video and you listen to what Ilya is telling you, there should be no reason not to get 100%. I think that's right, isn't it, Ilya?
Yes, absolutely. It's very, very straightforward, very simple course, so nothing to be scared of, really.
Yeah, and so just to make everybody here on the webinar today feel good about themselves, I only managed to achieve 87%. So if you absolutely, everybody needs to be able to beat me. So when you do, I'd love to get a message from you when you've gone and completed the course. So once you've got your certification done, you then need to nominate a distributor where your D-Link monthly bills are going to go through. So across the country, we've got 5 distributors that you can purchase D-Link hardware from, and where you can nominate your monthly billing to go. So nationally, Blue Chip Infotech, Ingram Micro, Multimedia Technology, and Cinex, 4 distributors to work with nationally. In Western Australia, we have EdSys that we're working with as well. In New Zealand, both Ingram Micro and Cinex distributors that we work with in New Zealand as well. So there's 3 things to go and get done, to go and get yourself ready to get out there and to start implementing Nuclias solutions for your customers. Of course, if you're not yet signed up as a D-Link partner, a business partner, please do so at dlink.com.au/rewards or dlink.co.nz/rewards. Please make sure that you go and sign up. There's no cost to signing up. There's only benefits to you. Some good upfront discounts that's available on our product. Some good, fair and decent margins that you can make, and of course you then get access to an account manager, to our level 2 and level 3 support through priority technical support as well. So please do go and get yourself signed up to be a D-Link partner if you are not signed up already. So something I should mention that we've just announced just this week as well is we are suspending the billing for our monthly subscriptions for D-Link Nuclias. So that applies both to new customers and also to existing partners that are working with us as well. So the bill to an MSP is usually $7.50. This is Australian dollars, $7.50 XDSP per month per device. At least until June 30 this year, we are suspending that to enable our partners to be able to support your customers in this, I guess, these uncertain COVID-19 times that we're finding ourselves in at the minute. So that's an initiative that's just been announced this week, So at the minute, there's no cost to the monthly subscription, at least until June 30. So a saving of $7.50 per month per device. That's at least something that we at D-Link can do to give back to our customers and enable our partners to be able to support your customers, as well. So that concludes the formal part of our presentation. There's a good number of questions that have been coming through. So I'll go through and we'll go and as we said, we'll go through and look at each one of those questions coming in. Ilya, a question here from Paul regarding routers. What sort of security features are going to be on those, and firewall features that will be on those ones?
Yeah, so the upcoming Nuclias Cloud routers, so it will be multi-WAN router, and it will offer, apart from VPN security and stateful packet inspection and all the firewall features, it will also have a web content filtering where you can specify certain website categories that you do not want people to visit, and also it will have application filtering where you can filter certain applications as well. So as we know, say YouTube or Facebook applications, even if you block the website on its own, if you run applications, sometimes that can go through, but application filtering will block that as well.
Great. Thanks, Ilya. Paul, hopefully that answers your questions. Simon asks, where does 10 gig switching fit into the roadmap? Okay,
so the switches which we're going to see closer to the end of the year, the DBS 4000 series, they will have 10 gig ports on them. So these 10 gigs can be used for uplinking or for stacking and for stacking as well. So there's multiple 10 gig switches there.
Great, thanks Ilya. Question here from Richard. What formats can the reports be formatted in? As a PDF?
Okay.
We covered that in the presentation.
Yeah. So the report itself as Excel spreadsheet format. So you can obviously format it any way you like and then save it as PDF. But by default, when you download it, it is Excel format.
Okay. Is there a demo portal available for people to get familiar with the solution as well as showing to customers?
Phil, you can probably explain about our demo or evaluation offering, so we can obviously supply that.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way to go, to send out products that you can actually go and play with in your own office rather than own office or home, wherever you happen to be. In terms of doing that, I think that's probably a good way to do that. So within the survey at the end there, George, you can request some evaluation of product. There's no cost to getting that evaluation equipment sent out to you. Okay, Paul asks another question. Are there triggers for auto toggling PoE ports if a camera freezes if there's no traffic passing on that port?
Okay.
I guess that's like the keep alive feature.
Yeah, the PD alive feature. So you can enable it on all ports or on a specific port, and you can specify what the IP address of the camera or whichever device you want to monitor. And if it's no longer responding, the PoE will be switched off and on to force the camera to reboot and come back online.
Okay, Neil, good day there, Neil. Neil asked a question here, is there a rollback or change history? I imagine that's for any of the changes that are being made.
Yep, certainly. So there is a rollback option. So when you look at the firmware update options, there is a list of available firmwares. So obviously the one which is the latest is automatically loads into the device if you set up with automatic updates, or you can force it to use previous version of firmware. So there's probably a list of 5 at the moment in the portal, or depending on the model, obviously. But change history. Actually, that's something that our developers are working on, how to provide the change history or change log in the portal itself in a convenient for our customers way. So we are going to implement that as well.
Great. Thanks, Ilya. Mohammed asks, is there a video tutorial for configuration?
Yes, there is. Well, firstly, the training, the Nuclias Cloud training that Phil was referring to earlier, that we have online, that covers the configuration, well, briefly, but more detailed configuration. There are YouTube videos available, so if you do search for Nuclias Cloud configuration, you will find those online. But as you can see, it is, it is pretty straightforward, so that's quite simple portal to understand. But again, yeah, we do have YouTube videos to help you, to guide you through.
Great, thanks, Ellen. Yeah, so I'd certainly commend the certified cloud administrator course. It does answer a lot of those questions there. Okay, Mark asks, can we reset an individual PoE port remotely?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go into the switch configuration or switch monitoring and select a specific port, and there is an option there to trigger the PoE port to reset the port individually. Yeah, can be done as well.
Okay, Mark wants some pricing details. So Mark, we'll get some pricing. We'll get some pricing through to you on that. Certainly in the Q&A. Details that are, the survey. There's opportunity there for some comments, so please pop your comments in there that you'd like to get some pricing through. Certainly, I think people are pretty happy with the way that the current range of hardware we have available, switches and APs, are all priced pretty competitively at the moment. Okay, so Mark, we'll certainly be in touch there for that one. Zoltan asks how to get certified for the product. So that's all done at training.dlink.com.au. Go and get yourself a training account, and there's go and register for the Certified Cloud Network Administrator course, and using the code DLinkCert2020. I'll just go back a slide. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen there is information on how to go and get certified. I'll just leave that up for you, Zoltan, and for anybody, if you want to take a quick screenshot or a photograph of that, that's how to go and get yourself certified for the product. Alex is asking a bit of a tricky question. G'day to you, Alex. Nice to hear from you. When the multi-RAN router becomes available, do we need to replace our current D-Link DSRs that we're using, or do we just need to do a firmware update to connect them to Nuclias?
I mean, it depends what's your router. So obviously, if you want to manage the your routers or multi-WAN routers through the cloud, you would have to replace them. I mean, using DSRs doesn't eliminate the option to manage other devices such as switches and access points on the network. But yeah, if the requirement for the customer's side to have a cloud managed router, it needs to be the cloud managed device, not the DSR.
Okay, thanks, Ilya. So yeah, new range of product that's available, similar to the Nuclias switch and Nuclias access point. Mark wants to know about NFR samples. Absolutely, we can do NFR or not for resale product. Again, your local account manager will get in touch with you about that. So there is a discount on the hardware that we can do for NFR. There is still the monthly fee, which would be payable on that at $7.50 per month. Of course, that's there's no charge on that at the moment, at least until June 30. Okay, Claudio, NFR, wants to know about NFR, mixed vendor environments, self-healing of errors, SNMP, and integration with MSP portals. There's quite a bit there to get through. So NFR we've addressed. Pricing for customers, that's certainly something that's up to you to go and set. We do have an RRP on the product, which is available on our monthly Nuclias price list. Anybody that is a certified Nuclias partner will be sent a monthly Nuclias price list from us. So once you're certified, you'll get that pricing on there, which does have RRPs, but of course you are able to sell that and in whatever way you want. We've got a mixture of MSPs that are renting hardware out to customers, that are selling hardware to customers. There's certainly lots of different ways to go and do that. Claudia, we might take up a question there about mixed vendor environments as to how that would work, or perhaps get Michael or David to give you a phone call to discuss that. Ilya, there's no SNMP at the moment on.
No. So obviously the devices are designed to be managed through the cloud. So SNMP, we don't have that option, at least at this stage. However, with the other question about integration with MSP portals, there is a built-in, so there is API which we can provide you information on, and there are some integrations which are already built into the Nuclias Cloud. And another question I can probably cover: self-healing, if errors found. Yes, there is. So all the devices, they have let's say dual firmwares. So if firmware update doesn't go through for whatever reason, if device doesn't boot up, it will boot up on the previous good firmware automatically.
Great. Thanks, Ilya. Claudia, hopefully that sorts you out, and we'll get Michael and or David to give you a ring as well. Okay, indeed, if that's the Claudio, I think it is, which I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Mark's asked a question here. The new routers that are coming through, will they support OpenVPN?
As far as I know, I don't have the final specs for the router yet, but knowing that it will follow the same configuration configuration as our DSR series routers, which are quite popular. And they do support OpenVPN, so it will. I suspect it will support it as well. Cannot give you 100% probability, but it is 99%.
Okay, thanks, Ilya. Okay, Vimal asks, are there any alerts about Wi-Fi connections being dropped or a customer having issues about not connecting to an AP?
Not about customer connectivity. There are, so you can set up obviously alerts if access point is not responding, but obviously you can see in the alerts on the portal if there are issues with the customer connecting or disconnecting. So that's probably the only way, but there is no automatic alert about clients not being able to connect. I'm not sure what the exact requirement is. So if the signal is too weak, or is it because the interference? So maybe that kind of. So we can certainly look into this, and if you can send us an email with the suggestions of what exactly you're after, I'm happy to speak to our developers and see if there's anything already available, or if there's anything coming, or if we can actually do it in the future updates.
Okay, question here from Ron. Will our switches support mGig? Well, certainly they don't today, the DBA 2000 series. With the ones that the layer 2 plus switches with 10 gig options on the Milliard, will we have mGig on those? It's quite possible.
It is possible. To be honest, I'm just trying to remember. We do have on our roadmap multi-gig switches, but I do not recall if these particular ones will have multi-gig ports. I think they're 10 gig, but I would need to check that for you, Ron.
Okay. Ian, good morning, Ian. Thank you for attending here. Well, the DBAs, there's a 1-year license. Is this the monthly fee? So there is a license that goes along with the product, but it's not a way that the D-Link Australia is choosing to actually to build the product. So you don't need to worry about any licensing that's going with the product. So you might have seen in Ilya's presentation, there were some licensing tabs. You do not need to worry about the license. That's something that, that we maintain and take care of for you. Ilya, I think I've answered that question pretty much right.
Yeah, exactly right.
You don't need to worry about licensing. So you'll be billed separately via your nominated distributor, whether it's MNT, whether it's Blue Chip, Ingram, or Synex, or EdSys.
Yeah. So when you first install the device, it automatically activates itself, and then from there we take care of the license in the back end, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yep. Okay. So Paul asks a question here, the Nuclias link, so between the AP and switch, if this is how I understand the question. So that link is going back to Nuclias Cloud. How's that done? Is it encrypted SSL tunnels?
It is. Yeah, it is encrypted SSL tunnels. That's right. Zero auth. It's all very secure. It's been put to scrutiny by our developers many times, and so as you can understand, this product's been around for quite a while, and a lot of attention has been put into making sure that the communication is secure.
Okay, pretty comprehensive question here from James, and I guess there's a few different parts on it. The guest Wi-Fi access, is that possible to be white labeled? Would you do an EDM shootout and display splash pages to guests in hotels or hospitality? And is billing for Wi-Fi usage integrated into the portal or possible via a third party? A few questions earlier.
Yeah, that's all can be done. So obviously you can customize your splash pages if you want. You can introduce a third-party payment gateway. I think PayPal is something that is already there, and you can redirect people after they log in or to a specific web page if you want to. So there's a website redirection option there as well.
Okay, James, hopefully that answers your question. If you've got some more questions on there, then we'll come back to you after that if you can fill out the survey that comes out to you. Okay, Vikash has got a question here with NFR. Can we do some free licenses for partners? Well, at the moment they're free until the end of June. Look, that's something that we can have a look at. I guess it perhaps starts to get a little bit unwieldy for us to be able to manage in terms of monthly billing. But Vikash will perhaps take that question offline with you as well. We very much like to get you into using Nuclias yourself and to be using Nuclias for your customers also. Okay, Paul's got a comment here. So I think Paul's from our D-Link office in New Zealand. Good afternoon to you, Paul, across the Tasman. Hope you're enjoying your lockdown over there for all of our visitors from New Zealand. So remote end users and teleworkers connected to a Nuclias AP in their homes. It would be as if they're connecting to their work network. Ilya, your comment on that?
No, not really, because AP is just an access point. If you deploy an access point at home, it will still be connected to your home network. But what make it bring closer to work environment is that if your access point is managed by your administrator at work, if it's been configured and the profile has been pushed to an access point with whatever settings you were using at work, so it will be similar to what you will be using at work. So if you're using strict authentication, radius authentication, all that, so that all will be implemented for you at home. So you will be connecting to a secure Wi-Fi network.
Okay, thanks, Ilya. Eugene from Brisbane. Good day to you, Eugene. Can you change the coverage of Wi-Fi signal similar to 90 degrees to cover a certain area? So I guess, is there a question, do our APs have beamforming or anything like that in them, Ilya?
They do, so not all models, but some models have beamforming built in. But I think the question is to use a directional antenna rather than omnidirectional. I think that's what Eugene means. At the moment, so the models that we have, they all have built-in omnidirectional antennas. However, the outdoor unit has an option to connect an external antenna, and in that case, you can use any antenna you want. So it could be highly directional or 90-degree antenna. So that will work this way.
Okay, thanks Eugene. Warren asks, what happens if a client has a Nuclias product and down the track they don't want to pay the monthly fee? Does it brick the device if they cancel the subscription?
No, it doesn't. So it continues to operate with the last known configuration, but you will not be able to modify that configuration, obviously, because if you log in through your Nuclias portal connection, so that you will not be able to modify or push the configuration to that access point. And also, if you factory reset it, so it will go back to factory defaults, and I will not communicate with the portal.
So Warren, if you're from perhaps reading between the lines there on your question, so if you're the MSP and you've sold it to a customer and they don't want the monthly fee anymore, if you've got full control of that product, you could choose to brick the device effectively. If you don't want them to be able to functionally use that product.
It happens automatically as soon as you remove the device from the list of your managed devices and from your inventory. It basically resets itself to defaults.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Warren. James has got a question here. Roadmap question for you, Ilya. AX. Wi-Fi 6 access points. When are they?
Yes, so we should see new products quite soon, in several months, probably Q3. This access point will come out. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We've got Barry here asked a question. Are there any limitations on the site device numbers? Is there a maximum number of nodes? I imagine to switches, access points, cameras, routers, etc.
You probably know the answer to this one, Phil.
Well, I think I do, but I'm just giving you an opportunity for everybody to hear your beautiful voice, Ilya.
All right. So it is the number of devices is unlimited. So there's no limitation on how many devices you can manage on one side or multiple sites. So it could be thousands, no problems.
Okay, and last question that we've got here so far. Thanks everybody for getting them coming through. They've been a really terrific group that we've had on today. From Zoltan, can the Nuclias Cloud device, once disconnected, can it be reconnected at a later stage?
Oh yes, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's again all manageable on there, and I guess that's part of our our fully flexible solution that we're offering is that if you've got a product that's out being used at a customer, perhaps you're just renting an access point to them. If they no longer want that service from you, you can put that AP, you can stick that in a cupboard. You're not having to pay a monthly subscription for it until it gets turned on and is being used again. So of course that device you can go and create a new end customer account, go and assign that particular product via the UID, the unique identifier, into a new customer tenancy that you've gone and created. So a really flexible solution that absolutely allows you to be able to utilize it at best, and you're not having to pay for a service that you're potentially not using. Okay, well, Ilya, I think you agree that's been a really great session that we've had this morning.
Great.
To wrap that up at the end. So thank you everybody for attending today. It's been great to have some familiar names that are on there, but also some unfamiliar ones as well. So Stacey, our wonderful marketing manager, will be sending out shortly a survey for everybody to complete. some good questions in there regarding evaluation product, getting certified and so on. So please be sure to fill that survey out so we can get back to you with some of those, with some of that information there as well. So if there's nothing further to add on here today, I'd like to bid you a good day. So on behalf of myself and behalf of Ilya, thanks very much for your attention today. Continue to stay safe and to stay well, and rest assured that D-Link is here to help you and your business to be able to prosper in this time as well. That's Phil and Ilya signing off. Good day to you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.